all I can say is I'm so glad this show is finally over. Disney Plus's Obi-Wan Kenobi. People have been asking for an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie or series for some time now, especially when Disney announced all their fucking spin-offs, and then canceled all their spin-offs in favor of a bunch of TV shows. And we finally got our spin-off for Obi-Wan Kenobi, taking place in between episodes 3 and 4, following him on Tatooine while Luke was still growing up. Or so we thought. So, I'm not sure where to start with this. I suppose I should start with I don't know if I want to start with just an overall view of the show, but I will say this much. The show was terrible. The show was straight up terrible. This is one of the worst things to come out of Star Wars, I'm pretty sure. This is right up there with the sequel trilogy and Book of Boba Fett and Resistance. This was terrible. Whether or not it's worse than Book of Boba Fett is still yet to be decided, but holy shit, this was bad. Oh my god. So, I suppose I should talk about something else before I get into it. I'll probably touch upon more of it in a rant that I teased in my Terror on the Prairie review, or maybe it was my Lightyear one, but I don't know. But there was a lot of controversy surrounding this due to Disney and Lucasfilm attacking a lot of fans due to them not liking the show. Actually, there are several things. One, you can tell on the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, Disney's been using bots to try to boost the score, because every once in a while, because the show kept dropping in, the audience score kept dropping into the 50s or something, which is rotten, then overnight it would jump up a good 5 or 6%. I think once it even jumped up 10% just overnight, which tells me that was bots that were used, that people didn't just all of a sudden come in with 1,000 people give this a positive review overnight. And everyone knows that was bullshit. So, yeah, that's already controversy of Disney trying to boost their own show by straight up lying to us of what people were thinking about it. 2, there was controversy when people were apparently being really racist towards Moses Ingram, who plays Reva in this show. And again, I'm calling bullshit because I never once saw an actual racist comment that anybody sent. I saw people complain that she was poorly written, I saw people complain that her acting was bad, and I saw people complain that she had no right being as prominent in the story, or being in the story as a whole. I never once saw anybody complaining about her skin color or her gender. You know why? Because that's not why people are mad. I didn't see anybody complaining about Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon. You know why? Because he had a very good performance and was very well written. I don't remember anybody being racist towards John Boyega for playing Finn, except for Disney when they shrunk his picture on the poster to a piece china, and in 8 and 9 make him a bumbling idiot who gets nothing accomplished. Oops. So, yeah, so all the controversy was all of Disney's fault, and then they started attacking people and they let their fans bully people who didn't like the show, and even joined in on the bullying themselves. Because if you didn't like the show, you were racist, sexist, misogynist, whatever stupid buzzword they want to use. Because Disney can't take criticism and can't accept the fact that they don't make good movies or shows anymore. And I touched upon this in my Lightyear, and again, I'll go further detail with a rant about this and Lightyear sometime down the road. So, as an overview of the show, like I said, the show was straight up bad. Everything about this was bad. The acting was hit and miss, the story was stupid, the action was boring. The only thing that kind of worked was John Williams' score, and even that seemed like he was kind of phoning it in. It wasn't that great. And this really sucks. I was looking forward to this show. I didn't really care much about Book of Boba Fett. It sucked. I didn't care. Never been the biggest fan of Boba Fett. I don't understand how people consider him such a great character when he was cool in Empire Strikes Back with 4 lines and didn't do anything. Then was taken out like a bitch in Return of the Jedi, and his return in The Mandalorian was one of the most embarrassing episodes of Star Wars I've ever seen in my life. And then his own show was terrible because they tried to make him some kind of crime lord / mayor / something else. They tried to make him a good guy, and it was stupid. And even Temuera Morrison acknowledged that I'd like to do this character again, properly. Like, even he knows that show was terrible and was not Boba Fett. So, now we have the Obi-Wan Kenobi, and like I said, I was really looking forward to this show, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of, if not my favorite Star Wars character. Like, he always has been. Like, I've had, like, right here, I have his Episode 1 and Episode 2 lightsaber that I've had for almost 20 years. This thing was made back in 2002 when Attack of the Clones came out, and it's pretty beat up because I've used it constantly, but I've had this same saber for almost 20 years, and I still have it, and I have it hooked on my shorts right now because I'm a huge dork. So, it's obvious that I really like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and seeing him, like, do some kind of, like, Jedi stuff, or some kind of mission on Tatooine while he's trying to look after Luke is an interesting idea, but they throw that out the window 10 minutes into the first episode. Now, okay, so I'm gonna go through this episode by episode, and thankfully, unlike a lot of other shows, like The Flash, I didn't have to go through, like, a list of the episodes so I can remember what happened where, because A, there's only 6 of them, 2, none of the episodes are very long, and 3, there's always just one thing I know about each episode that jogs my memory. So, episode 1 was boring, dull, and I'm sick of seeing Tatooine. And this show also, much like the sequel trilogy, breaks canon several times. The entire point of Obi-Wan taking Luke to Tatooine was because the Sith would never find him there. Well, guess what? The Inquisitors show up 30 seconds into the show. After we get a 4.5-minute recap of a trilogy written by somebody with some level of competence at the beginning of the first episode, perfect contrast to what we subjected to for the next 3.5 hours. I don't even think it was that long. It might have been 3.5 hours, I'll say. There's a perfect contrast to what we'll be subjected to for the next 3.5 hours. And so there's another Jedi hiding out on Tatooine because of course there is. And he runs off, brings down like the tiniest of little, the tiniest part of a flimsy, like some flimsy piece of metal that's like attached to a building that just like comes down on it, almost like a door. And it's like the thinnest piece is like thinner than this broom I have over here. And they just decide to give up the chase. And then we get some of the shittiest dialogue throughout this show, and especially in episode 1, where Grand Inquisitor says scraps are all we have left, and then Reva, the worst character in Star Wars to date, says, then we need to hunt bigger prey. If scraps are all you have left, there is no big prey to hunt, dumbass. So, yeah, and then Obi-Wan has become the old hermit who has severed his connection to the Force and doesn't want to go on a mission because I'm not the man I used to be. Because Lucasfilm clearly did not learn their lesson from everybody hating Luke in The Last Jedi. I know I often make the claim, oh, these people never learn. These people never fucking learn, do they? They do the same shit and they don't get away with it. Because they're idiots. They're all idiots. And speaking of idiots, I found out that one of the people who wrote this show, I can't go episode by episode, I'm going to go through it quickly in each episode, but I need to talk about something else. One of the writers on this show clearly never saw Revenge of the Sith. And if you think I'm being mean here, like, oh, this is so bad it breaks canon, he clearly never saw the prequels, no. He apparently, in an interview, it was made clear that he didn't know that Obi-Wan knew that Anakin Skywalker was Darth Vader. Literally, in Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan sees a hologram of Anakin killing the Jedi, and then he's kneeling at Palpatine, and he says, "Rise, Lord Vader." And if that's not enough, when Yoda's telling Obi-Wan to go fight and kill Anakin, he says, "The boy you trained, gone he is, consumed by Darth Vader." He knows he's Darth Vader. So clearly this guy never saw Revenge of the Sith. So, yeah, we're clearly in good hands. So, yeah, episode 1 is just boring, and it ruins Obi-Wan. And Leia gets captured in one of the worst chases. This gives the frickin' speeder chase in Book of Boba Fett a run for its money, because there's these 3 grown adult, some kind of aliens, chasing this 10-year-old girl. For some reason, they don't use their arms to reach out and grab her. Neither does Obi-Wan in episode 2, might I add. They can't catch up to this 10-year-old. They keep running into trees and tripping over logs and shit. And they just can't catch her. It's a 10-year-old kid and they can't grab her. security's garbage, so to allow her to get away that easily. And like, I don't know how they keep making chase scenes worse. And that makes it worse that the very first thing we see in the Star Wars universe is a chase. But no, we get the boring, slow space chase from Last Jedi, the terrible speeder chase in Book of Boba Fett, and now this garbage. And they're, of course, working for Reva, who I will get into a full rant about later, trust me. Episode 2, Obi-Wan. At the end of the episode, Obi-Wan leaves Tatooine. Way to break canon there, jackass, and leave Luke to fend for himself. Say the Sith catch him there, what are you gonna do? Nothing, I guess. And he's like, oh, and he walks away, he's like, I need a disguise so nobody sees it's me. And he's dressed exactly like a Jedi. Even down to the point where, just to show it off for the camera, he pulls the cloak back a bit so we can see his lightsaber, exposing his lightsaber to the person standing 5 feet from him. So, yeah, way to keep cover, dumbass. Then he goes off to rescue Leia on this one terrible-looking planet. It looks like Tokyo, but you get this, like, green haze in the background of every shot. It looks terrible. And we get some really bad blaster shootouts. We get another bad chase where Obi-Wan can't just grab Leia. He has to keep running with his arms back here for some reason, can't grab her. And he finally gets his connection to the Force back and is able to keep her from falling to her death because she's an idiot. Episode 3 is just flat out nauseating, where there's a rebel disguised as it's an Imperial that doesn't agree with what the Empire's doing anymore. She helps Obi-Wan go down this path, which I guess plenty of Jedi have gone through, including Quinlan Vos, and some are speculating that they also saw the name Doom in there, reference to Caleb Doom, aka Kanan Jarrus from Rebels, because they need to throw in every reference to every other show they've ever made. The Inquisitors appear, they do nothing, and then Vader appears, murders some people, and then we get a really bad rematch between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Not only did they ruin the chance to have a big moment where Obi-Wan sees Vader for the first time and realizes he's still alive, no, we have to have a Reva tell him that Anakin's still alive. We can't just let Obi-Wan figure it out for himself when he sees him for the first time. That would have been a really cool scene for having face his old apprentice down and realize that he failed to kill him. And we get one of the worst directed action sequences I've ever seen, and they make Obi-Wan look like a complete wimp throughout this fight. Like, I get they're doing... Alright, there'll be no more interruptions. God, every time I try to record during the day. So, where was I? Yeah, I know he severed his connection to the Force and everything, they're doing that nonsense, but did they have to make him such a wimp during this fight? Vader just absolutely kicks his ass and just lets him go. Like, he uses the Force, brings him down on fire, and then once someone shows up and shoots at the stormtroopers and puts out the fire, he just walks away and reignites the fire in between them. He just lets him go. He just walks away? What? So, that was embarrassing. 4th episode, and then at the end of the episode, Reva has to kidnap Leia, because of course she does. And in the 4th episode, they go to the Inquisitor's Fortress Inquisitorius, I think it's called. I think it's a dumb name too, but that's what it was called in Fallen Order, so that's what it's called here. And it's a stupid mess of an episode. Like, these Disney's continuing their trend of making stormtroopers look like absolute fools by having them easily sneak into this huge fortress filled with Imperial officers, stormtroopers, and fucking Inquisitors. Letting them easily basically walk in and walk out with little to no trouble. With some help from Rebels. It's literally just Obi-Wan and Tala, though. It's not even like an entire, little squad of Rebels getting them out. Or getting them in and getting them out. It's just the two of them. And there's a point where Tala, kind of gets found out, but not really. She's taken by 2 stormtroopers. She literally, to get away, she, smacks one, literally just, smacks him like that. Not very hard. And the other stormtrooper just stands there like this and waits for her to hit him. Making these stormtroopers look like idiots. And Obi-Wan gets Leia out, and then a couple of X-Wings show up to help them out. And we're supposed to feel bad, because one of them dies. And we get this huge, big, silent moment where we're supposed to mourn this guy who had like 2 lines. Oh no, not Wade. He only had 3 lines in this entire show. Oh no. Oh man. Episode 5 is just as bad. Reva, of course, tracks down the rebels, and they fight their way out. We find out Reva's trying to kill Vader instead of actually joining. She's going up in the ranks to eventually kill Vader. And this makes Vader look like an idiot, because at the end it's revealed that he knew her plan. So you wasted all these resources, let her go on huge missions that you need, like letting her go after Obi-Wan Kenobi, the person you want the most, letting her go alone, knowing full well she's not going to capture or kill him, that she's going to try to kill you instead. This show makes Vader look like an idiot, and episode 6 does the same thing. I'll get to that in a second. And Obi-Wan, of course, gets away, and so do all the rebels, and then Reva tries to kill Vader. Oh, and this episode does have a flashback with Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's probably the only half-decent scene in the show. The dialogue isn't terrible, and the action is actually okay. The fight is actually decent. And it is nice to see Hayden back, but other than that, this episode's garbage. And then the final thing where Vader just destroys Reva. Funny to watch her get her ass kicked. But then Vader stabs her, and then Grand Inquisitor shows up, and they don't bother to finish her off. They just leave her for dead. Because God forbid we kill this character off, because they're setting up for the Reva spinoff that is literally, this is what coined the phrase, tell us you don't know what the fans want without telling us you don't know what the fans want. That's literally it. Episode 6 is an embarrassment of the finale. Obi-Wan leaves the rebels, and then Vader and they have a Star Destroyer going after this little ship full of rebels. And then Obi-Wan takes a ship down to whatever fucking planet they're over. Planet's not interesting to look at, and I don't think it ever said what it was called. Vader says no, turn the Star Destroyer to follow Kenobi, and letting the rebels get away, only for him to take his shuttle about 30 seconds later, which was, I was literally saying, take your shuttle, go follow him, let the Star Destroyer blow up the rebels. But no, out of pluckiness, he has them follow Kenobi for about 30 seconds before saying, get me my ship. So you just wasted your opportunity to destroy a platoon of rebels out of your own idiocy. Darth Vader, ladies and gentlemen. Then we get a duel between Obi-Wan and Vader. It's horribly directed and horribly edited. The choreography is fine. Again, it makes Vader look like an idiot, because he throws a bunch of rocks onto Obi-Wan, walks away, not making sure if he's dead, and apparently can't sense if he's dead. And later Obi-Wan goes all Percy Jackson on Vader and throws a bunch of rocks at him. This shouldn't hurt Vader, because he has this really thick armor, and about 30% of his limbs are made of metal. So this shouldn't hurt. And then we get the thing where Obi-Wan slices off part of Vader's helmet, and we see Anakin and kind of hear his voice along with Vader. We've already seen this done several times. We did this back in The Force Unleashed in 2008, where Starkiller cuts off Vader's helmet. Then they literally did this in Rebels, a Disney-produced Star Wars show, where Ahsoka cuts off part of Vader's helmet, and you see Anakin and hear Matt Lanter's voice. That was a really emotional scene in Rebels. I really like Rebels. That was probably the best scene in the show, or one of them. But they literally do the exact same thing here. I mean, they does do some things okay with that little bit where he acknowledges, his friend is dead, even though he already knew this information. Yoda even told him, your friend is gone. And the first time he calls him by Darth instead of Anakin, which is what he calls him in A New Hope. I guess that was okay. That was done okay. I think, that explains why he does it. But during this fight, we keep cutting back to Reva hunting Luke, because of course she is, and her fighting Owen and Beru. Now, putting aside the fact that she was stabbed in the stomach in the last episode with a lightsaber, and she's walking, I sprained my wrist last summer, and I couldn't work out for a few weeks. It looked like that, and I couldn't work out for a few weeks. I could still, it wasn't, horribly painful, it was just a sprain, but it was still bad enough where I couldn't weightlift, I wasn't able to run as effectively. Reva gets stabbed in the abdomen with a lightsaber, and I think this is like an hour later. She had to have just teleported there. She had no ship, so she teleported over to Tatooine and found Luke in about 30 minutes with a lightsaber wound that apparently was about as effective as getting hit in the stomach with, well, again, with this broom, I guess. I think if I hit somebody in the stomach with this, it would probably do more damage than that lightsaber stab did. Hell, hitting them with this lightsaber would have done more damage than that lightsaber did, apparently. This is made of plastic. So, I digress. And Reva struggles to fight two moisture evaporators. Hang on. Not moisture. She struggles to fight two moisture farmers. Yeah, our Inquisitor. And she starts hunting down Luke, but just before she's about to kill him, she gets this flashback, again, of Anakin stabbing her when she was a kid, or Vader stabbing her as an adult, because she's been stabbed so many times. She is the Mary Sue effect again. Like, this is the second time we've had a Mary Sue type with a female Mary Sue with the name that starts with R. Ugh. Guess write what you know, I guess. But unfortunately what they know is garbage. And so she ends up stopping last second, and she brings Luke back, and no repercussions for killing innocent people, and almost killing Owen in the first episode, might I add. She was threatening to kill him. He just lets her walk away. He doesn't shoot her or anything. Obi-Wan doesn't do anything. Owen and Beru don't shoot her for trying to kill their nephew, who they love like their son, because they need to set up for a Reva show that no one gives a shit about. And we have to give her the redemption arc, because God forbid the black woman that we need to push our agenda has to be the evil one. No, she has to be a big unsung hero of the saga. Fuck off! So, and then we see Qui-Gon Jinn as a Force Ghost at the end. In a vacuum, that scene would have been cool, but after all this other nonsense, I barely cared at all. And it was just pure fan service. And something else that pissed me off, at the end of it, when Obi-Wan meets Luke, he does the hello there thing. And that wouldn't have bothered me as much if it wasn't a huge fucking meme. Like, everyone was so angry that he didn't say hello there in the second episode. He just said hello. Everyone was so mad about that, and like, oh, he better do it in another episode. It's like, I hope he doesn't, and of course he did. Like, again, if it wasn't a meme, I would have seen it as, oh, that's what he said when he first, that was his first line in A New Hope. That would have made more sense, but no, now it's a meme. The same thing was one of the things that kind of killed my enjoyment of the Skywalker Saga video game. They threw in so many memes that they threw in I don't like sand several times. Like, during the scene where Rey is trying to be picked up by all the Jedi, we hear Anakin, I don't like sand. It's like, shut up! And we get the high ground joke, and the hello there joke, and all those other stupid-ass jokes that aren't funny. They never were. And they're doing it just to appease the stupid Star Wars memers that no one actually takes seriously. And those are the only people who like this show, are the ones making memes of it. It's the same people, most of the same people who are the only people who like the prequels, really. So now I have to get into the characters. Obi-Wan's ruined. I already went through that. He's ruined, he's stupid, and they make him a freaking wimp throughout the majority of the show. Vader's made to look like an idiot. We already saw this, and he's a wimp in the final battle. Reva is the worst character in Star Wars history. Yes, that includes Rose Tico and Jar Jar Binks. Because, let me ask you this. What is her purpose in this show? Other than I know what you're gonna say. Pushing Disney political agenda. Yes, we all know this. We all called it before the series came out when we saw the first trailer. It's like, oh, it's focusing on her. She is the main unsung hero of this show, not Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's fucking Reva, because we have to have the black woman push our agenda, and I am far from the only person to point this out. So, and what is her purpose in this show? What does she accomplish? She doesn't accomplish jack shit throughout this entire show. She tries to kill Vader and fails. She goes after Luke and then doesn't kill him. Or doesn't even try. Doesn't get any comeuppance for her actions. What's her purpose in this story? Absolutely none. You cut her. You know what? You cut her out, you missed nothing. I'm thinking about doing a video of rewriting the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Like, cutting Reva, cutting all this extra shit, making the reason Obi-Wan's leaving Tatooine a bit more realistic and not outright stupid. I may do a video rewriting the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Comment down below if you want to see that video. So yeah, Reva is just the worst. And the actress is terrible. I have seen what people are saying about her, and it's not racist comments. She's not a good actor. Her acting is terrible. Her character is poorly written and has no place being in this show, and should not be the main character, but for some reason she is. Shut up, Lucasfilm, and quit attacking your fans just because they see through your bullshit. I'm thinking back to Revenge of the Sith. I see through the lies of the Jedi. We see through the lies of Lucasfilm. Leia is annoying as hell. She's way smarter than any 10-year-old should be. Like, she's smarter than most people, for some reason, at 10 years old, and all she does in the show is get kidnapped and rescued constantly. Great. They got the dude from Eternals, I can't remember his name, he plays Haja. I do like that they didn't waste this actor on one episode and one bad joke like I assumed they were, but he doesn't do anything throughout the rest of the show either. So, what was the point of bringing this top-tier actor into this? There was mistreatment of the stunt double of Darth Vader, one of the stunt doubles of Darth Vader behind the scenes as well, but I'll get into that in another video as well. Owen and Beru are probably the only likable characters in this show, because they're the only ones actually doing anything logical. I know Owen doesn't want Obi-Wan near Luke. I get why. Beru becomes one of the best characters in the show with all of 6 lines. And because all she does is try to protect Luke in the final episode, and thank you! Someone actually doing something cool, and they're able to fight an Inquisitor, showing how stupid Reva is. There's gotta be other characters. Bail Organa is ruined, making Obi-Wan go after Leia instead of his security, which Obi-Wan even suggests, like, no, we can't let this become public. Really? The Princess of Alderaan being kidnapped, that's not going to be public? And sending a Jedi after her isn't going to be public, and having the Jedi show up on your landing pad at the end with lightsaber and everything, and Jedi robes and everything isn't going to draw attention? Ugh. I don't know what else there is to say that I'm not going to say in my rant, that may come out later today, probably more likely tomorrow. Oh my god, I don't understand how this happened. I don't understand how you make something so bad out of something that should have been an easy win. This should have been a great show, but it was a disaster. This was straight up garbage. There was nothing redeeming in the show whatsoever. This is CW level of bad. And this is not quite TBS level bad, but this is CW Networks level bad. And there are even times when the special effects look really bad. Like when Vader pulls down the ship, yeah, it's cool, but it is glaringly obvious that is a green screen and that ship is not really there. That was really bad. The Star Destroyer apparently can't hit shit either, because it looks like it's just a chroma key background with a little model of a ship floating around. It looks like stock footage, actually. It looks like stock footage with a tiny ship in front of it and some green laser blasts thrown in. This was abysmal. This was lazy. This was probably the worst Star Wars show ever made. I'm going to say this was worse than the Book of Boba Fett, because at least it had the 2 episodes with Din Djarin, which were actually decent. But this was straight up garbage. Obi-Wan Kenobi gets an F. Fuck this show, fuck Lucasfilm, fuck everybody involved. Except for you, Hayden Christensen and James Earl Jones. You guys get a pass. You guys tried. Ewan McGregor doesn't either, because he jumped on the Lucasfilm bandwagon. Oh, if everyone's being racist towards Marcus Ingram. No, they're not. They hate the character and they hate your show. So thank you all so much for watching and indulging this rant. What did you think of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Did you like it for some inexplicable reason? Did you hate it like I did? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm drained. I'm gonna watch something good now. I don't know. Maybe I'll go watch Phantom Menace to burn this out. Not the best Star Wars movie, but maybe I'll go watch Revenge of the Sith. Because I don't like Revenge of the Sith, but oh man, it's a step up from this. It's definitely... I'll watch anything made by George Lucas. Would I rather watch the holiday special, though? That is the question.